Good afternoon, y'all. It's Hunter Elliott with rangehot.com. Hope you're doing well. This afternoon, I'm finalizing my review of a relatively new rifle from Ruger. This is their 1022 competition rifle from the custom shop. Now, I've had this rifle about 6 months now, which is about twice as long as I normally like to keep any kind of test gun. But I've done a lot of reviews on the 1022. I've got several. I'm pretty well versed in this platform. And this is a pretty special rifle, so I wanted to make sure I took way a plenty time for myself and several of my friends and family to get a chance to run the gun and kind of develop an opinion. So I apologize for taking so long, but in my opinion, it was worth it. First of all, I want to show you I do have the 10-round detachable box magazine out. I have locked the bolt to the rear. I've assured the chamber is empty, so we know this rifle is safe to talk about. As always, you know, this is going to be a video overview. There is going to be a written article on rangehot.com that's going to have a lot more of the technical specifications, information, photos, and that sort of stuff. So if you missed something on the video, if you got a question, you can jump over to rangehot.com, read the written article. Might be able to find out there. Before I get started on that, let's talk about some of the specifications real quick. The length on this rifle is 36 inches, barrel length about 16 inches, and it is a fluted bull barrel. Now those flutes serve two purposes. Not only they're going to help keep a little bit of the weight down, but also give you a little bit more heat dissipation. Now I know you're probably going to ask, well, how much heat does a 22 really generate? Well, not a whole lot, but considering this rifle is marketed for the competition market and you're probably going to mount some powerful optics on it, anything to kind of help reduce or eliminate mirage or help it dissipate a little quicker is going to be a step in the right direction. And this rifle comes in at 6 pounds, so a little bit of weight reduction on that end doesn't hurt as well. The trigger pull on this breaks at a very clean 3 pounds with just a cat hair of take up and very little over travel. Really nice trigger for a rimfire. Honestly, really nice trigger for any kind of rifle, so Ruger did really nice on that. MSRP on this rifle is going to be $8.99, so you know street price is going to be right much better than that. The stock here is actually a very attractive stock. It is a wood stock, laminated, and it's got kind of a gray textured paint, and then you can see it's spattered here with these black specklings. So you do have right much texture here on this stock, and it being sealed like this is going to help that wood from trying to, you know, swell or warp in and that sort of stuff. You do have an adjustable cheek piece, so when you've got different folks behind the gun, they're able to get a little bit of a custom fit there on their stock weld to help make sure they maintain the correct eye relief on whatever optic you decide to run. Now, as you can see, I have mounted a Riton 4x16x40 scope on this rifle, but it does not come with any kind of optics. Ruger ships it with this integrated Picatinny rail, so you can mount whatever optics, red dot, what have you, that you see fit, which is not uncommon for a rifle that could be dedicated towards some competition shooting. But you know, I see several facets this rifle could fill. Yes, if you want to get into some rimfire competition, absolutely no problem. I think this would work very well, especially as an entry-level gun to get you what you need to do. And at some point, you may would outgrow it, but I think it would take a pretty good while before your proficiency exceeded this rifle's capability. But another thing that I see this rifle serving very well is a training gun. You know, if you've got some young people, children that you want to get into the shooting sports and you need to introduce them into how to shoot a rifle, generally speaking, optics are going to be easier to teach than iron sights, especially, you know, if you're shooting up close. The rifle having a little bit of weight to it, 6 pounds, there's not going to be really any recoil. Now, here again, I know 22 long rifle doesn't really generate a lot of recoil for you or I, but I mean, imagine a, you know, 7, 8-year-old shooting this rifle. Every little bit helps. Now, Ruger also had the forethought to, they factory threaded this barrel 1/28, and it ships from Ruger with actually a pretty effective muzzle brake. Doesn't really add any more report to the muzzle, as you know some brakes tend to do. Here again, still always wearing eyes and ears, but it does also help mitigate some of that perceived recoil, perceived pushback. And again, competition or teaching a new shooter, the less aggressive you can make the rifle, the easier it is going to transition them into being comfortable with the manual of arms and being able to run the gun and feel confident and comfortable with it. So being threaded by 1/28, I threaded on this Ruger silencer that I reviewed a few years ago, and I'll be honest with you, with a silencer on this rifle, it is a dream to shoot. It is very easy to teach somebody how to run a rimfire. I mean, basically I just mounted this thing up on a tripod, screwed the can on it, and then you were able to easily communicate back and forth without having to yell or pull your ears off and on that sort of stuff. You know, if you're into plinking, you just want to sit out at 50 yards and shoot empty shotgun shells or paper targets or little small steel targets. Here again, this will be a very ideal rifle for it being, you know, an oversized stock. It fits nicely into any kind of bag or tripod. One thing that's always aggravated me about the 1022 is getting the little 10-round rotary box magazine out. You know, the standard 1022 magazine releases, it's a little bit tough to get with. Ruger now has added a large lever that actually curls up under the trigger guard, so not only do you have a more throw, it's easier to get to, it's also ambidextrous. Just behind the magazine release, integrated into the trigger guard, it's the standard Ruger 1022 crossbolt safety. So I've got just a tick over 1,000 rounds of long rifle through this myself, several of my friends and family, so it wasn't just me having all the fun. But out of those 1,000 rounds, believe it or not, didn't have a single malfunction. The gun run like a sewing machine, except for running subsonic ammo without a can. Reliability was very hit or miss, which, you know, that is pretty typical of any kind of rifle, especially a rimfire. With subsonics, you do need the added back pressure of a baffle stack can to kind of help accelerate that bolt to the rear, get proper function. Somewhere about halfway through the review, I did manage to clean it. Now, since it's marketed toward the rimfire enthusiast, the rimfire competition shooter, accuracy is going to be paramount. We did take it out and shoot it at 100 yards with just standard off-the-shelf ammunition. You know, MOA is easily achieved. Some of the more cheaper, like, you know, the Remington Thunderbolts and that sort of stuff, you know, it was 1.5 inches, 1 3/4. But, you know, if you get some really nice match grade rimfire, get 3/4 inch 3-shot groups at 100 yards all day long from a rest with this. Realize rimfire ammunition, especially just your run-of-the-mill super cheap stuff, is inherently inaccurate. So to really utilize the benefit of this rifle, you're going to have to get a hold of some target ammo, which it's not hard to find. It's just going to be a little bit more expensive. But, you know, for a day out teaching or a day out plinking, whatever you can find at a local store will be just fine. The rifle served its purpose perfectly. Reliable, accurate, easy to shoot, configurable, nice trigger, muzzle brake. I mean, there you go. So I'm going to wrap this up. But like I said at the very beginning of the video, there's going to be a written article on rangehot.com. So if you got any questions, jump over to that article. Like I said, I'm going to have a whole lot more of the technical information on that, as well as some more information. So if you're curious about that, if you didn't find out what you wanted to learn after that, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. We do the social media gamut. So reach out to me, let me know what you think, good, bad, right, or wrong. I always appreciate constructive criticisms. All I'm trying to do is make the videos and articles continually better, so people will continue to come back, read the reviews, watch the videos, that sort of stuff. Y'all know how it goes. So that's it. Look here, y'all. I want you to take care of yourselves and each other. Look forward to seeing you at the range.